Okay, let's start then. So the technical interview today will be divided into two main parts, more theoretical questions or some simple situations that you should resolve, and more practical questions like tasks for Linux, for test design, for troubleshooting. And let's start. The first one is very easy, I think. Imagine that you have nothing to do today, and you want to take a new task. Now no tasks in ready for QA status on your board. What will be your actions?
I'm already know what task I want to do.
So you have nothing. So you completed your tasks. You have nothing to do. You started the working day, and you want to have a new task. You go to the board, and you see that on the board, nothing in ready for QA status or any other status that demonstrates that the task is ready for testing. So what will you do?
Almost impossible situation. I guess at first I'll ask my team lead, or maybe he or she has some task. Then maybe if he hasn't, I'll check with the team. Maybe someone need my help. And if not, I guess I'll just figure out something. Maybe I review some test cases or requirements or something like that. Or maybe I'll do some of ad hoc testing.
Okay. And what about the tasks that are in progress right now?
You said that I haven't task in progress.
But yes, you haven't tasks that are already ready for testing, that are ready from the development side.
Okay, then maybe I'll check the tasks, check that is the documentation complete for these tasks. Maybe I can do something with that, like writing test cases or checklists, something.
Okay, thank you. The next one, about the unit tests. Why unit testing is so important, and what will you do if no unit tests in the project?
They're important because they can find the defects at the very beginning. So if there are no unit tests, I guess I can talk to someone to start unit testing on this project. If it is not impossible, then I guess I try to substitute it with some functional testing, test cases.
Okay. And what functional testing will you do more in this situation? And what level of testing pyramid? What do you think?
I guess it should be integration testing, like the most closest. But it actually depends on the project, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Say that you are to test the data migration from one database to another one, maybe from one database system to another one. What will you do for testing of data migration?
I need to figure out the tests, or
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I need to somehow check data integrity. So I should create some testing data and check how it will migrate. Will it be consistent and fully written after the migration?
Okay. So how will you test the consistency, for example?
Write down the data in the database, first one, and check is it okay after migration, just something like that. If it was fully transported.
Okay. Thank you. So the next question, say that you have 1,000 regression tests, and now it takes a lot of time to run them all. But your customer asks about a fast testing of the application before the release. What will you do?
Smoke test, I guess.
Smoke test. Okay, so how are you going to distinguish the cases, which one are smokes? Because say that now you have all the tests, all that 1,000 tests in the same priority with the same mark, and you should reconfigure this suite some way.
I need to find the positive checks which will test the business requirements.
Okay.
Some business function. And maybe if the project have user stories, I should check out with that. I guess that's all. Just testing happy path.
Testing happy path. Okay. Will you do something with that suite of tests?
I guess it would be good to save it for the later. Not to do this again after if it need to be checked again. And I guess I need to write a report after that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, a bit of networks. What is the difference between TCP and UDP protocols, and in what applications TCP protocol will be used likely, and in what applications it will be UDP?
TCP protocols consist information about source and destination ports, about sequence number of the package, hash sum of the package to check the information integrity. UDP doesn't have it, and UDP mostly used for some connections where we don't need to provide like safety for this. So we maybe it's video or online gaming. And TCP used to provide some safety of the package of the information, and it's using in the mail, banking, and some of that kind of stuff. Where we need to be sure that all information was delivered.
Good. Thank you. What is the difference between 400 and 403 HTTP code?
403, if I remember, 400 is a bad request.
Uh-huh.
That means that user make maybe some mistakes. 403, I don't remember exactly, unauthorized or forbidden or something like that.
Yeah, forbidden, yeah. And what does it mean?
That means
For
that
example?
this user doesn't allow to have the doesn't have access to this information.
Okay, okay. How to change the name of a button on the UI using standard browser tools?
We can use the dev tools, but it won't be like forever permanent. We can use the dev tools, console tab. No, not console, element tab.
Okay.
Find this button in the HTML and add it there. Its name.
Okay. Okay. And what will happen if I refresh the page?
I guess all the new name disappears and the old name.
Okay, thank you. Okay, what is the difference between put and patch in
Put is
REST?
updated fully, and patch is partial update.
Okay.
As I remember.
Okay, thank you. Why do we need HTTP options? And what is it?
To understand what options is supported by the source. So it should return all options, all methods that we can apply.
Okay, okay. Thank you. What sniffers do you know? List them and describe the way of working of each.
Okay, I know TCP dump. It catch the packets between some hosts, my host and another host. Wireshark. Actually, don't have many experience with that, but it's doing something like that. And Fiddler.
Okay.
As I know. And Postman can be used for this.
Great, great, very good. Now a question for your fantasy, because we didn't touch it during the course. Try to suppose that you are to test a mobile application. What specific tasks could be added for a mobile application that doesn't make sense to do in a web application?
Maybe we should test the different screens, because phone have a lot of screen sizes, and some usability, usability testing, because we should select something with our finger, not mouse. What else? Maybe we should test it with the different phones.
Okay.
I mean, systems. Yes, that's all that I can imagine for now.
Okay.
Maybe
that will
different networks or
be
connections.
networks. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Imagine that you have a serious functional defect in fixed status. What will be your actions?
Okay, that means that I already run the test and it shows the defect again. Yes.
Mm-hmm. No, you just have a defect as an issue. The defect is assigned back to you. The status of the defect is fixed. The status is set by developer. So you should do something with this issue or maybe with something else.
So I retest it. And if it still exists, then I should change the status to open again and assign it for someone, for the developer or who is going to fix it. And maybe I should ask the developer about this. Is it what fixed already or what? Clarify the situation somehow.
Anything else?
No, I guess that's all. Maybe if the maybe I should change the version of the application. Maybe it was changed after the fix.
Okay, good. So let's go to the tasks. And the first one will be Linux. Let me send you to the chat. Of course, the task is not very small. Yeah, I sent you, and you have 5 minutes maybe to think about it. And then please send me the comment back to the Zoom chat. So you have a file, a log file. It is huge enough. And you need to find all lines that contain error and bug, but does not contain test. Error and bug are case insensitive. Test is case sensitive. And then you should write the result to the result.log output file. And after that, count the number of lines in the file. Try to write it in one command, if it is possible. If not, try to write in some other way.
know. Would this work?
I'm not sure about that comma. Error,
yeah.
comma, bug,
Yes.
maybe. I think you should have something else here. It's another. But generally, yes. Generally, yes. So you. And here is L or capital I. Minus grep minus.
It should be small I.
Small I, yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
something.
Okay, good. Generally, it is almost correct. Okay, so the next task, that will be maybe a bit more interesting. Maybe not, I don't know. Let me send you the link. You can open your local computer and I will contemporarily share this task on my screen. So this is the test design task. Say that we have an application. This is the online cinema. And we have simple enough architecture of this application. We have web front, some thin client, a server side, and web is communicating with the server side by REST. We have a MySQL database with all the data about customers and about videos, and FTP client where, for example, some logs are saved. So this is the three-tier architecture. And before a new feature comes, you have a very simple functionality of this online cinema. All the films from the database could be seen by all the customers. So we have the database, very simple database again. In the customers table, we have all the information about the films. And all the information about customers is in customers table. And now we have a new feature. Now all the films should have an age limit. The feature is realized simply for the first time, and we say that we bought some database where the films already have an age limit, and we migrated this database to our database, and now we guess that all our films have the age limit as well. And for this, we added a new field to the database, age limit. It is a Boolean field. If it is true that this film is for adults only, adults is adult age is 18 and above. If it is false, so this is the family films for everybody. And what to do with the customers? If the customer is already registered, during the next login, the customer will see a model window where a program will ask this customer to enter the age, just a number, not a date of birth, just a number. If this is a new customer, it will be a registration page, and in this registration page, the customer will have an additional field with an age. So your task is to cover this new feature, not all the application, but only this new feature with tests. You have access to all the levels of the program, to the database, to services, and say we have new fields in our services with age limits and age for the customer creation and updates and so on. So up to you, maybe you will start right now and will say what tests are needed to cover, or you can think a bit and then tell me your result.
Okay. So client.
So, Maxim, are you ready?
Yes, 1 second. Okay. Okay. Let's start from the front end, the application itself. So we need to check first the equivalence classes. For example, we need to test that it is possible to input only integer numbers, not letters, symbols, negative numbers, decimal numbers, spaces, or empty results. We need to check boundary values, like 0, 1, I don't know from what age it starts, 70, 80, and 95, for example, or maybe more, I don't know. It should be clarified with the product owner, manager, or developers. What would be the top level of the ages. So we need to check this field in the registration panel and in model window.
Okay.
We need to check the same. We need to check backend restrictions for the same classes and values. The API. I guess we can check the database for the same checks. It should have the same constraints.
Okay.
Okay, then we need to check use cases. For example, we need to test if this field appears at all. We need to register user and check the record in the database. We need to be sure that database save it. We need change age for some user and check database. And we need, for example, set less or more 18 years old and check is it if FTP allow us to watch the needed movies.
Okay.
We need to check is it what would be with the previously watched or saved or somehow, I don't know, previously watched video. Would it be still available for person less than 18? And would it be available if someone changed the age more than 18? It should be available. We should check the model window. Is it model? Is it forbid to what the word to push another button on the application or something like that.
Okay.
And I would improve this model window. I guess we need some kind of cancel button for this.
Okay.
So we need to check what would be if, for example, user input some number and cancel it, and would it be safe this number if user open this again, this message? Okay.
Will you test the database somehow?
No, I said about this about equivalence classes and
yes,
boundary values
yes.
for the database.
You said you tested the age. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe you want to test something else in the database.
What our database?
You tested the age of the customer. Yeah. That is saved. Yes, and it is a correct good test, but remember about from where we have got this age limit. We migrated data from some other database. So what should we test after this migration?
Database integrity, yes.
So give me the test. Your
We should
particular test.
Create some user with not one, several users with set age and check this users after migration.
Yes, this is about users, but what about some other object in the database? we had some database that we bought where we had a list of fields with age limit, and then we migrated this list of fields with age limit to our database where we had another list of fields with age limit, well, without age limit. So what should we test after such
to test
migration?
that, database still a link on firstly on the right movies, and second that these movies still have the same restrictions.
But they didn't have restrictions before the migration. So we just added a new field.
Yes, that's true.
Age limit. So after we added a new field, what was in this field? What do you think? Age limit, Boolean. So what it was before we migrated a database?
It was null.
Was null, yes. It was null. Everything was null. So we have migrated, and
we need to check
what should we test?
There is no null.
Yes. Yes, we should test that we have no nulls in the database, because you know that these two lists of fields could be different. We cannot be sure that we had absolutely the same list in the database that we've migrated from. So it could be some nulls, yes. Here, okay. Anything else?
Maybe we could also check API messages. For example, the response from the server, backend server.
Maybe.
And maybe API between server and FTP.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Thank you. I think we could stop for this task right now. And let me give you another one. Another one is for troubleshooting. So you are testing a 3-tier application, not the online cinema, just some another application. You have access to all the levels. You have UI, you have backend, you have database, you have access to everywhere, to all logs. So you could do whatever you want. And you now test the list of users from the UI. You want to add a new user. You press a button, add user. Some model window is opened. You enter all the information about a new user, and you are absolutely sure that all this information is correct and valid. You press save in this model window. The model window is closed, but you cannot see this new user in the list on the UI. So definitely there is a defect, but you should localize this defect. You should find the root cause of this defect. So what will you do?
Okay, I guess that if the model window was closed, that means that front-end part worked correctly.
Okay.
So we need to and no messages appears, right?
No messages, yes.
They should be, or not?
It should be, yes, I don't know. But I think the problem is a bit more serious than no messages on the UI.
Okay,
So.
I guess we should start from checking the logs of backend and database. If the information was passed to them. Maybe this would be the reason. So if not, then I guess we can check that backend and database part is up and running at all.
How will you check it?
We can use Ping, but I guess it's better to use traceroute command with -p argument to specify the exact port. In this case, we check that the application, the server itself is running, the application is running, and no one changes the port, or they don't have conflict or something like that. We can use traceroute with TCP or maybe ESMP packets to be sure that it wasn't firewalled, for example. And we need to check permissions for the backend and database. To test that the backend, for example, have the access to database. And we need, I guess, to check maybe data integrity in the database. Maybe something goes wrong there.
Okay. So say that we found something strange in the database logs. We read that authentication failed. What should it mean?
That means that we make a mistake in authentication, or maybe someone changed it and didn't say this.
So who or what has no rights, has no permissions to database?
Come again, please.
So we have got that something or somebody has no permissions to the database. So who is it or what is it?
Who has no
permissions or what has no permissions? I don't know. Your ideas.
You mean this? User, I guess,
user
might have no permissions to use the database. You mean that why we have this?
Why we have this message? Yes, why we have this message? Where the permissions are not enough?
maybe it was the password or login was changed on the database, for example, or maybe the access to files in Linux permissions was changed.
Okay, but whose permissions are they? User, something else? Where to find this object without permission? What object has no permissions?
Application.
Application. Application is some huge thing containing a lot of levels. So
I guess backend.
Backend, yes. This is a system user, a backend.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So now let's describe this defect. You want to write a defect, to report a defect about this situation. What will be the title? What will be the description? What to add to the defect?
Okay, title would be what kind of message we have?
Authentication failed. We had. Okay. So.
And we know that backend doesn't have this.
Yes, we guessed that this is the root cause. Yes, the backend has no permissions to the database.
Like, backend authentication failed. That's all. We need to specify the version. We need steps to reproduce. We need assignee. Maybe we need to attach logs or and screenshot with this message.
Okay.
What else? We need maybe we need to link to the requirement that said that it should be like this.
Okay.
And we need to set severity. I guess it would be. It depends actually, but I guess it should be some critical or high.
Okay.
And I don't know. It depends on the project. We can set the priority by ourselves, or it can be done by a product manager. So if if we can't add any information to database, so it would be critical.
Okay. It is good. What will be the steps to reproduce on this defect? It is a provocative question.
I guess the best if we're sure that the problem is not in the front end, so the best would be use backend to this, like maybe API or if they have a special console and on backend. So the first step would be like create open somewhere. No, not open. Precondition, for example, Postman is open. Like send the post or get or some request to the backend with the exact data. So expected result would be all right. The database saved our data, and actual result would be it's all bad.
Okay. will we describe adding user to the database from the backend? Because we found this defect when we tried to add a new user from the UI. So what do you think? Is it important to describe that we added a new user?
It depends if it is the only problem on the backend, or that yes, we should do this. If we can't do anything else, we can describe that we can't sync with the database.
Okay. Yes, that's correct. And the last question about this troubleshooting thing, to whom should you assign the defect? What team is responsible for this?
Actually, it again depends. If the problem with the database, I guess it would be developers, or if the problem with the access, like some IT department, DevOps. If the problem is with database, we need to assign it on the database engineer, or who is related to this.
Okay, good, thank you. And the last question for today's exam. Say that a team member rejects the defect that you have wrote. Not the defect about this user thing and the backend and database integrity, but an abstract defect. A developer rejected the defect and wrote that it is not reproduced on his machine. So what will you do?
We can argue. If it's still reproducible on my machine, for example, I guess I'll check it on another environment. Maybe I'll ask some another QA engineer for this. If it's still reproducible, then I think I go to these developers and try to solve something with this. I guess what is the problem, or I write to product manager, for example, or my team lead.
Okay, thank you. So that's all, actually. Thank you very much. You have 88 out of 100.
Okay.
And this is, I think, a good result. You have some gaps, but not a lot of. And congratulations, you graduated from the course.
Thank you.
Now, if you want to apply to this employment process, so you're welcome. But I think since you are waiting for the offer, maybe this is not for now.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but if you will want to apply in the future, so you're welcome.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you, Lida.
you are very succeeded, and you have already almost have an offer. So this is very good result. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Lida. Can I have the list of my mistakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first one about you have nothing to do and want to take a new task. You were not very sure, and the correct answer here should be in the beginning that you should review the tasks that are in progress right now or in the state like on review by the developers, because this list of tasks means that these tasks will be soon in the QA status, or ready for QA status, some status that from that you can pick up the tasks. So if you have nothing to do, it is better to review the board and find some tasks that will be soon on you, and start to write test cases for them or update some test model. So about the data migration, you were not very sure in this, and you didn't give me the examples. So, actually, this is your overall mistake, because you are trying to explain me the theory, but without examples. And the impression about this, just pay attention to it if you will find a new job after this one, the current one. On the interviews, the interviewer typically expect that you will demonstrate that you can apply this theory to the examples. Okay, so and here about the mobile applications, you gave not very many ideas here. So maybe it makes sense to train this ability to fantasy about how to test something that is not in your real experience, because again, in the interviews it could be, because you, for example, can go to the company where they use some new technologies for you or some new type of applications for you, and they could ask you about it. What do you think, how to test this application? Okay, you have no experience in that, but what do you think how to test? Because they will expect that you will learn very fast, and then you will analyze the new type of application very fast. Okay, about serious functional defect, you have forgot about updating test cases if needed. Because if the defect is serious, probably you have something to update, and you definitely and mandatory have to perform smoke tests or sanity tests around this functionality. Because again, if the defect was serious, especially if it was a system serious defect, probably they fixed the defect, but they corrupted something else. With very great probability. So it is always better to run at least smoke tests if you have this serious defect fixed. Okay, the test design task was not very good, because you didn't give me the structure of tests, and again, on the interviews, they always expect that you will structure the ideas that you have. And you forgot about this obvious test that we did the migration, and probably something is inconsistent right now after the migration, because we just took some data from some abstract unknown database and put to our database, and again, likely something is corrupted after it. And the rest was good enough, from 90 to 100. So you have no so many gaps. And you think you will be successful in your new job, because it was really good. It was like you are not right after the course and internship, but you are a middle QA and you have 2 or 3 years experience. From my experience, not all the middles actually answered like that. Okay. So congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Next time, and feel free to ask me questions if you will have in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.